Hello everyone. Today is an absolutely gorgeous day, so I'm going to work on the car. Tomorrow, high temperature is going to drop 40 degrees, so I will not be working on it for the next several days when the temperature is that cold. So let me show you what I've got and what I'm going to try to do. All right, so I had been working on what we'll call the eyebrow over the fender, this section right here. It was in plaster. Plaster wasn't curing and I got tired of waiting, so I actually put body filler on it. You can see a couple spots I sanded through the body filler. I tried to put just a skim coat of body filler, so it's really thin all the way through here, but there's a couple spots where it needed to be lowered a little more. So this is the basic shape of the eyebrow that I have now. So let me go ahead and give you a view, and then we'll discuss what I'm going to do today. Oh, you need to see the eyebrow. All right. Now let me explain where this came from and where I'm going, or the direction I'm going. So the molds that I started with, they had the eyebrow there, but they kind of de-emphasized it. It's there, but it's kind of hard to see. And again, it's a little bit flat. If you look at the C8, they started to do the eyebrow. You can see it comes here, it starts coming up, and where it would have continued coming up and made the eyebrow, they sliced it. It looks like they just took a knife and went, we're gonna get rid of that eyebrow. To me, it looks like, oh, we're afraid to make it look like a C2 too much, so we're gonna cut this off. And you can even see where I drew the line where the eyebrow would be if it continued on. So there's a piece over here. I think it's that piece right there. I'm not sure, I've cut so many pieces. Anyway, I actually set it on here and said, oh, well, if they would have continued right here, it would look like this. Okay, so I don't like the flatness of this on the C8. I don't like the flatness of this on the mold that I started with. Okay, now if we look at my model of a C2, you can see that there's what the eyebrow looks like on the model. The model's a little more aggressive than an actual C2. This is a radio controlled model, but I actually like that. All right. Now, what I did was I actually went to the extreme. So you can see that my eyebrow's even taller than the model, okay? And it's probably too tall, but when I was building it up, obviously it was like the mold, it was too short. So I had to go up higher. It's easier to make it too high and lower it later than to make it too low and then have to raise it a second or third or fourth time. So even if it's too high, at least I've got what I want. Now, the other thing is the shape of the eyebrow. So if you look at this is hard to do with. All right. So you can see this one comes up at the front. It's kind of an S shape at the very start. And then it comes up, and then it's almost but not quite straight from the back. Now you can see that the way mine is, someone else called it a frown. They were talking about a different part of the body, but it's almost like a frown with a little S in the front. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to straighten this part of the line out from here to, oh, probably here. It's not going to be absolutely straight because that's not what I want, but I'm going to get rid of a little bit of that crown. Once I do that, then I'm going to stand back and say, okay, does the whole eyebrow need to be lowered? If it does, then I will simply come in here, draw a line at wherever. Once I get the curve the way I want it, then what I can do is, if it needs to be lower, I will just come in, I will trace this curve, and then I'll come in and make that trace a line. Let's say it's an inch lower. So it would start here, it would actually be a V shape. So it needs to meet here. This can't really be lowered a whole lot, maybe a little bit, but not nearly as much as that could. So it would be a V shape. So it would come here and it would a taper. So it would slowly taper to whatever I decide. Let's say I cut an inch, it would do that, and then I would have to figure out how do I once again go into here, so it would probably go down to nothing here a little bit. So anyway, that's kind of the idea, but I won't know until I get the shape right, and then I'll decide what to do from there. So that's project number 1 for today. And again, this is optimistic. Like I said, it's my last nice day. The other thing is to take that guttering that I bought, the PVC guttering, and put it in here to fill in this gap. I was going to go off and make a fiberglass piece and do this all permanent and whatever, but then I thought about it and I thought, you know what, that's going to kill the whole day if I do that. If I make a copy of the gutter in fiberglass, come over here and fit it and match it and all that stuff. In a couple of hours, I can actually cut up that PVC and mock it up in here. And what that'll let me do is, I haven't decided on the curve here. So this radius between where this is going to extend over to here. There's got to be a radius here. I don't want a sharp edge. The question is, what radius is that going to be? If I look at this, there are, again, it's hard to do one hand. Okay, there are multiple different radiuses here. The one right here where my thumb is and the one up there, those pretty much look like the same radius. So if I was to cut this piece, let's say straight down here, anywhere in between here, okay, and this piece right here is actually at an angle down. So if I do this, and the side is straight up, so if I do this and that was straight up, that's about the same angle right there. So I could literally cut right where this radius stops, and then cut right where this radius stops, and then that piece I could literally lay on top of this and screw it in place. Obviously it would be higher than that by the thickness of this piece, but for mock-up purposes that doesn't really matter. Okay, so like I said, within a couple of hours, make a couple of cuts on this and then just screw it on top of there, and then I could get an idea of if I can live with that radius right there. If not, the other radius is this one right here, which is significantly less. The problem with that is that angle is exactly the opposite of what I want. It's even less than 90 degrees. I want something like this that's what, 120 degrees or whatever the heck that is. So I would have to do a lot of work. Now, it wouldn't be a real big deal, I don't think, because I could take this piece, cut it, and then force it to open up the angle by putting it on the outside of this. And so that would force that out, and that would increase that angle. So those are my two options. I'm going to try the first time to just use this curve and see if I can live with that radius. If I can, great. If not, then I'll go to plan B and try to make that radius work. But I actually think ideally I want something right smack in between those two. But it's one of those things of, you know what, I got this right here, and on the overall scheme of things, when I get the car together, I don't think anyone's going to go, hey, you know what, that one radius right there on your running board or valance should have been sharper. And if they do, then fine, I'll fix that then. Let's see the other thing. So it's going to come in and mold into this piece right here, and then go up to the top. So again, that's going to have a similar radius as well. So anyway, I'll know more as I start building it and decide what I can and can't live with and what I do and don't like. The other thing is I would like to blend in this fender opening. So you can see that this is a separate piece that I made. Behind this is where the original wheel opening was. It was in the wrong spot. So what I'll have to do is bond these together and then smooth this out, use some filler, smooth this out to where it looks better, get all of these, seams, get rid of all these seams that are everywhere. And that's pretty much, I think, the most I can do today, if I can even do that. Oh, the other thing is I'm going to rehang this door. Someone pointed out that the body line across there from the crease, I'll show you here, there we go, it comes down, this crease goes all the way here, it continues on the door, and then it continues on the fender. Okay, again, those are in the molds that I started with. All right, and he was pointing out that, oh, well, your line is S-shaped, basically. It starts at the front, comes up, goes down, comes back up. That's not set. I just stuck the door up there just to make it, just to put it kind of in place. I do need to lower the back of the front fender, but it's right now at the mechanical limit. I mean, things are hitting each other right here. Those of you that kept up with my videos know that this was a lot of work to try to get this as low as possible. This is as low as it would go easily. Anything else, I'm gonna have to go in and do a lot more surgery on the car to get that to change. So I'll do that some point. Anyway, I just want to point that out, that I only do things as I'm going along, so I can't fix everything all at once. And that body line right there is, it's going to be later on, because I've got so many other things to get straight, because that body line is like the last thing, and it has to be exactly the shape I want. So I don't want to fix it right now and then later decide, oh, that body line's in the wrong spot because of other modifications I've made. So I want to do all the other modifications first, then come and look at it and say, okay, where's that body line belong? And then I'll fix it then. All right, just wanted to give you an update, and like, subscribe, hit that little bell, and you'll know the next time I put a video up as soon as it's up. And I will see you then. Bye.